So, and that, because then if I can let her see it, then she
Yeah,
can know, resources where to
perfect.
go to do stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I will repeat that stuff for you. So the great thing to do is go to td.org, which it looks like you found. Yeah. td.org, which is the Association for Talent Development. They are the largest organization for people who do e-learning, who create the e-learning. And when you go to their resources and vendor directory, then you can look at all the different categories and you can build a nice email list, a vendor list that you can go through and, find these companies, find out the best person to connect with, kind of use LinkedIn as well as in conjunction with the website. So, for instance, there's a company called Sublime Media, the creative agency for learning. So, you'd want to look them up on LinkedIn too and find out who their people are and connect with them.
Do
So
you
that
have any,
way, you know,
sorry,
no, it's fine.
do you have any tips for finding the right person?
Most of the time, their job title is going to be instructional designer. And that's the person that is normally creating the content that then is also, tasked with finding the voice actor. So if you're looking for instructional designers or content creators is another, I think one of the
New,
categories they sometimes will use. So yeah, it's one of those things that people sometimes get really into funky names, um, like with their, their titles, but in general, that's who to look for. I'm trying to think if we can. So I just clicked on their link from that. And then I'm like, okay, look at their people. It says 49 employees. I don't care where they live. I just want to know who they
of
are.
course,
I
not
don't know what
all
their
of them,
skills are. I just want to know who the people are.
not all of them work with the voiceover. So like, how do you do anything special to find those people?
Not necessarily. Sometimes I just will look at, there's like, here's all the people that are listed, and there's like a visual designer, and they're the person who does the graphic design, the animation, illustrations. There's the co-founder. Probably it's not, storyteller, instructional designer. That's probably somebody I would find, there's motion graphics designers, probably the people who are instructional designers are the ones that I would look for. Like print graphics or the, website development, you don't need those kind of people.
Hmm.
Um, there's the
You don't
learning
need them.
director, the learning director, maybe a project manager. Again, these are some, I'm trying to think of who, looking at these titles, since this is more of a media company, but yet I'd probably go with any of the instructional designers, honestly. Um,
What about if I'm looking for corporate narration? Because I know that's a plethora of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, producers. If you're looking at LinkedIn, you'd want to look for anybody who is a producer, content creator, um, director. But most of the time it's going to be a producer or a director, video companies. Just looking up, and there's lots of groups on LinkedIn that you can join that, for video production people. And then looking at them, and posting maybe just, some, when you're marketing to these people, it has to be a very subtle ask without seeming like you're asking. It's more about sharing content with them.
Hmm.
Uh, so if you were going to post in one of the LinkedIn groups, for, instance, it
What
would
value?
probably need to be where you're sharing information that everybody could use and would find interesting.
Hmm.
And then as they comment, you can thank them for commenting and then try to connect with them and see who they are, and, or follow them or whatever, follow their companies and look them up. It's a long process. This is not easy. I mean, it just isn't. But it's worth it. It's worth it, especially when, you do the little projects you do now, doing all this. can render the results you want. And then these people tend to be fairly loyal and hire you for a long time.
Mm,
And people go from company to company too and take you with them. So while, it's a long game,
mm,
but it's definitely worth, doing it and setting it aside in small chunks. Say, I want to reach out to 2 people a day. That's it. I'm just going to do 2 people. I can make a list if I have a whole bunch, if I run across a whole bunch of people. And then, but doing the actual research, maybe limit yourself to 2 a day so you don't get burnout. If you're in the groove, go for it. But, if you only have a certain amount of time a day, just say, I'm going to find 2 people. So let's say your mother-in-law is very helpful and, and gets you the list. Just pick 2 of those a day and connect with people,
mm,
you know? Um, Offering to be a resource for someone is really the best way to approach it. If I could be a resource for you in the future on any of your projects, I'd love to help.
mm.
Uh,
Is that like resource as in a voiceover
yeah,
resource, pretty much?
yeah.
Okay, it's the
And
wording.
also because they might, you might hit their inbox at a time when on their to-do list is to find somebody to voice it. And while
Mm,
you may not be the voice they need at that particular moment, because let's say they're looking for an African-American male, which,
mm,
neither of us are, you can then say, sure, I know some people, I'll be glad to recommend them, because
mhm,
they reach out and say, hey, yeah, thanks. I listened to your stuff. It's great. Right now I'm looking for, an African-American guy who's maybe in his 30s. Do you know anybody? Yes, yes, I do. And if you help them and lead them to somebody else, then they're going to remember you.
mhm,
You are a resource for them. You happen to be top of mind for them to ask. Yeah, you're not going to get the gig, but they're going to remember that you led them to somebody who did and did a good job for them. So they're going to be like, hey, yeah, let's write this with Andrea in mind. Because they do that sometimes. They're like, yeah, I was
mm,
hearing your voice when I wrote this. That's the biggest compliment somebody can ever give you, you know,
mm,
and that does happen. That happens frequently.
mm.
LinkedIn is a great resource for this kind of thing. You have to kind of post things that are going to be of use to people, and or comment on their, once you connect with somebody, find their posts and comment on them and, in a useful way, not just, hey, congratulations, or yeah, that's really great. It's kind of like sometimes I will throw in things of, I really appreciate your perspective.
Mm.
As a voice actor, I find that blah, 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 however it relates to their, post. And therefore, I'm getting it out there that I'm a voice actor, but thank you for your, feedback. And here's what, we see. And then it makes them remember that that's what you do.
Mm.
Again, it's a
So,
long game, but it can definitely be worth it.
um,
It's definitely worth the time. That's being authentic in your marketing, offering to, share information with people, finding out, what it is exactly that, helps people do their job and then make them feel a little bit better about what they're doing helps.
so what's your process
Lately,
for?
I haven't had one because with
Mhm.
starting the school, it's been very, very busy.
Okay.
But typically, what I would do is, look at my list that I actually had my intern a long time ago make for me. And, I've just been chipping away at it. And honestly, it's looking at the list, going to LinkedIn, looking at the company, finding out who the people are, taking a shot at saying, okay, maybe this is the person to connect with. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. After they connect with me, a short, sweet, simple, thank you for connecting. Really appreciate it. And then if I happen to see something in their profile that I want to comment on, like, hey, I noticed that you went to blah, blah, blah school, or I noticed you've been doing XYZ for a number of years. If I can help you in any way, just, or I like your work or whatever, I love what your company did, just something a little personal, just one line, just something very short and sweet and simple. And then just, again, if I can be a resource for you, you know, let me know. And then I just sign my name and my website and my phone number, and that's it. That
Do you
way, if they
do
are interested in doing, getting in touch with me, they will. They might put me in their file. They might add me to their contacts. I don't know that they may not have a voiceover archive or listing. And then when they are ready and need somebody, they send it to everybody they've got on their list. We can't control that part, but we can control how we reach out to them. Um, if they start a conversation back and forth with you, ask, hey, can I add you to my email list? So I can check in with you from time to time, or if I see something that I think would be interesting for you, hopefully they'll say yes. If they say no, I'd rather not, say no problem. I appreciate the connection anyway.
do
Then at
you
least you
do
haven't burnt a
email?
bridge. Hmm?
Do you do email
Yeah,
marketing
I
or
try to do emails
outreach?
as well, as well as LinkedIn. I try to do emails. And a lot of times you can find their email, in their profile, you can, find out what their email is. And if they have their email there, I ask and make sure it's okay that I add them to my email list. And if they say yes, great. And I tag them in my system so that I know they're e-learning people or they're corporate narration producers, whoever they are. And, I follow up. Um, again, I need to be much better at my follow-up. A lot of things have kind of gone by the wayside because I've been doing more emails and more following up with the school to kind of build that. But yeah, similar process either way, where I'm working on trying to definitely, get better at that follow-up, because that really is where the key is to follow up all the time, is to, keep up with people. Reach out to them, figure out who they are, what kind of things that they're interested in. Because once you connect with them on LinkedIn and they end up in your feed, you can comment and you can say nice things, and you can, spend some time, maybe twice a day, morning and out, morning and afternoon, and just kind of go through, look at your feed and comment and like, and, raise your awareness, and it'll lead you to other people. The other thing about that, if you're following somebody and either they post something that you like or that you find interesting and you're going to comment back on, find out who else has commented.
Mm.
I've connected with more people through that, because it's like, oh, and then when I connect with them or send my connection request, I'll say, I noticed you mentioned something on so-and-so's post about XYZ. I really enjoyed that. Would
Hmm.
love to connect with you. Or didn't you find what they posted fun? Or whatever, I really liked your perspective on blah, blah, blah's post.
Mm.
I see we're both connected to them, or something like that, would love to, connect with you as well. And then hopefully they do, you know? Um, but that's another way to kind of reverse engineer the system, because then
Okay.
there's already something between you that you can relate to. Um, maybe they'll have, and then you can look at their profile and see what posts they've made recently, and maybe comment about, yeah, I really like all your feedback, about blah, 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 or, whatever it is. It's kind of hard to give examples unless I have one in front of me, but,
Okay.
you know, but yeah, I tend to do that a lot, and it gets some very interesting conversations going with people,
Hmm.
especially, producers and film and video people, also studio owners, recording studio owners. That's a really, any kind of recording studio, because they have their internal rosters, because they have clients come to them. And if the clients don't already have a voice actor and they say, we need you guys to do, the casting call for, this spot, then you can, if you say constantly nice things,
Hmm.
hopefully check your your thing out and your website, and then say, yeah, let me reach out and see if I want to add her to my roster. So, audio production facilities are also or post-production, audio post-production is what it's called. Those are really great people to get on the radar of. So, yeah.
Um,
What's,
yeah, I don't want to interrupt you,
yeah,
so
no, yeah, that's great. That's a perfect way to do it.
um, so have you found, I've heard, I forget her name, Julie something.
Julie
Um,
Williams?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think she was talking, or someone else was talking about um a lot of, I don't know if the word majority, but I got the impression maybe the majority of people who worked with voiceover talent, I don't know for her or for whoever told me, were
Mhm.
like freelance video producers.
Mhm.
I think she
Yeah.
said that, freelance video producers. Would that hold true for e-learning as well as corporate narration?
A little bit, because there are what they call contract instead of freelance, but freelance is also another word, contract e-learning designers. So that's, oh, you know what? I'm just thinking of something. Hmm. I I think you and I are about to have a nice fun trip with this.
Oh,
Okay,
yay.
so,
I love
but yeah,
trips.
let me answer your question first. Yes, freelance video production or your video producers, or a contract or freelance instructional designer.
Hmm.
They might have their own, kind of like us, they have their own business, and then they try to go to companies to do their e-learning. And they'll have like a big project they'll work on for 6 to 8 to 9 months, and maybe
Hmm.
they keep going that way. The company doesn't have to pay them salary and benefits and everything else, but
Yeah,
they're freelance for the training department or the HR department of XYZ company that has, like, 100 employees, but they have
yeah.
a whole bunch of training. So, yeah, there are contract and or freelance instructional designers, sorry,
Yeah.
learning developers. That's the other, learning develop.
Now,
There's the other.
now, in that case, I mean, we may have to talk about this afterward
Mhm.
about like pricing and stuff. Now, freelance says to me that probably less, correct me if I'm wrong, less than maybe actual like Fortune whatever
500,
number
yeah.
companies.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know like the hierarchy, like, but that's what it said to me. Maybe they'd only be able to pay less.
Not necessarily, because a lot of times they will be doing a budget that they have to submit to their client,
Hmm.
and in it they will have included voiceover. And then that's why it's always nice to even ask people that are freelance video producers, what do you have in the budget? Because
Okay.
you might be thinking, okay, they're a freelance video producer, I'll just say $375 for this 3 minute corporate narration, but they had budgeted 450.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that's probably low because maybe they worked with somebody in the past who charged them 600, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, let's see if we can get someone for 450.
Yeah.
So it can never hurt to ask. It doesn't always mean less money.
Yeah.
It depends on who their end client is and what their end client's budget is. So, and we don't know that, so it'd be nice to, because a freelance voice video producer could reach out to you and say, hey, I have a client who has a 3 minute video that's going to be used internally only. Can you give me a rate? Well, they haven't told you who the client is. The client could be Coca-Cola. The
Yeah.
client could be Mercedes-Benz. The client could be Tervis. Sorry, I have my Tervis cup in front of me. I was looking for a company name. Yeah. So, it could be a company that has money, or it could be a nonprofit that maybe doesn't have as much money. And but they still do have, not all nonprofits are on a cheap.
Yeah.
They have to be careful with their dollars, but they're not always trying to get blood from a stone. There are lots of big time corporations that are uh, nonprofits that have plenty of money, and they spend it because they have to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't always necessarily think that it's a bad thing, to be freelance, because again,
Mm.
they could be kind of what a lot of people call permalance. They constantly work with the same client over and over and over again, but
Yeah.
they are not an official employee of said
Mhm.
company, because when I worked in video production, there were many, many, many of us that did that. We constantly had our clients,
Mhm.
and but they came to us all the time. They constantly kept you busy. It was like, okay, project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4 and 5 at the same time, project 7, it's like, so you're constantly working for the same company, but you are not on their payroll.
Right.
So it doesn't always mean that you're going to get bid low. So hopefully that helps.
Gotcha. It's because actually a funny story. So somewhat recently in the past few months,
Oh,
my
goodness.
hubby and I got what's it called? Words. Rooftop tent.
Oh,
We're
nice.
we're at we've gone to the overlanding not conventions.
Yeah.
I forget the word for it. It starts with an
Yeah.
E or something. Anyway, so we went to these gatherings and like they have rooftop tent manufacturers there, and so we were going between two, and then we finally decided on one, and he was basically going to custom make it, and it was him and his help, but it was
Mm.
basically him. So he made it, and then we went to pick it up, and then I learned that he had another company, video production, and he worked with voiceover talent. So I was like,
Yay.
unfortunately, he got another job,
Mhm.
and so he's closed that company down.
Oh, shucks.
But like he was talking to me about, like, he asked me what my rate, and I gave him my e-learning rate
Hmm.
because that's the only one I figured out.
Right. That's
And then
okay. That's okay.
and then he told me what he usually paid, and it was like between 400 and 500. I was like,
Yeah.
that confirmed to me the
Yeah.
rate guide and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
and I don't know if I consider him freelance. He had his own company, but it was
Yeah.
basically him and
Yeah.
whatever.
He would be the middleman. I mean, he has the expertise, because a company would come to him and say, "We need an internal video for a conference we're having within our company, and we
Mm,
want to show a video at the beginning of it to praise our employees for all the things they've done, and and thank them." So they would go and film a whole bunch of people and stuff, and if they needed a voiceover, they would reach out to people on their roster and then hire you. So that's kind of that how that normally works in the freelance video world. Ow, I have, yeah, sorry, I have a splinter. I was spreading some
ouch.
mulch this morning as well, so I was like, "What is that?" Just hit my finger and I was like, "Ow." Sorry.
You were what?
I was spreading mulch this morning and I just hit my finger and I realized I have a splinter in it. That's why it
Oh,
hurt,
do you have a green thumb?
kind of ish. All my plants died outside the bushes because of the horrible weather we had.
Ah,
It got really warm and then really cold, and so a lot of plants around here in Middle Tennessee died, and I got new rose bushes put in,
hmm,
and I had to put mulch around them and do a whole bunch of other stuff. So
yeah.
fun, fun
My
morning.
mom was a farmer in Sweden
Oh,
before she came
nice.
to the US, and she still grows stuff.
Mm,
She her and my dad live in a suburb, but she
yeah.
still has like plants and grows
Yeah.
stuff. And thankfully I've
Oh,
inherited her green thumb. I
oh,
appreciate them. I
good.
just don't grow anything yet. But
Right.
I do have some succulents, and one of them is in this box that says, "Looking cute, maybe die later." Something like that. I'm like,
So cute. I love
that's
succulents.
for
They're
me.
wonderful. Yep. I love succulents. They're easy.
Well, I'm still figuring out how to water them.
Yeah. Not very often, like once every 3 weeks.
Gotcha. Well, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks
Yeah.
for telling me.
Yeah. They don't need a lot, just a little bit.
Gotcha.
They're good to go. Yeah. But
Okay. My
so my other thought that I had when we were talking is, have you ever been on Upwork? Have you ever gone
no,
to Upwork? Okay.
but
Mhm.
okay, so this is another funny thing. My uncle, my hubby's no, my uncle-in-law, my
Yeah.
hubby's uncle
Mhm.
actually has a video production company
Nice.
he lives in Miami, Florida.
Oh,
And
okay.
funny side note, there seems to be a lot of them in Miami, Florida. I'll have to look into that later.
Tons. Yeah.
But and he's like one of those that like not a lot of this.
Hmm.
So like, and he's once he figured out I was getting into voiceover like a while back, he was flooding me with all this advice and scripts to
Hey,
practice on, which is great.
that's
But
wonderful.
I've learned that he might not be someone I actually want to work with,
Yeah.
because he's
He's like,
like,
I've got $100. Will you do it? And you're like, that's a
yes,
$400 job. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, don't charge, you want to charge between 100 150 is what he's telling me. And I was like, wow. And stuff like that. And I forgot my point, but he was saying Upwork and all these
Mhm.
other places too, which you got to take everything with a grain of salt. So
Yeah. Upwork I'm on Upwork and have been for 12 years now. It used to be Elance, and then
Mhm.
and then Odesk were two separate things, and they merged and became Upwork.
Huh.
And so, my profile looks really great, but that's mainly because a lot of that came from Elance. But, there are some diamonds in the rough on there. There are a lot of really junk jobs as well. People wanting you to do a whole bunch of stuff for $5 or,
Yeah,
$10, $15, kind of like Fiverr. But,
yeah.
um, but you can build a profile for free, and you can look and see what other people have done and how, they've done things. But I was thinking about this. I was like, huh, what if we looked up instructional designers
Excuse me.
for e-learning and reached and then kind of tried to find some of the people that are on there?
On
Because you
LinkedIn
can
or just
search
generally?
the talent, instructional designer, e-learning, kind of curious. And then when you see the people that are doing it and wherever they're based, probably more likely to be somebody in the United States that would be easier to work with, maybe even reach out to them and try to, on LinkedIn, like find out their name on Upwork, although it's only first and last initial, but not hard because they've got photos, and then try to reach out to them on LinkedIn and
Mhm.
connect.
That's an
I
idea.
guess, yeah, because I just thought of this as I was talking to you before. I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, I have an idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then what you can do is figure out if they're the kind of people who will, you can look at some of the work they've done in the past. And then, oh my gosh, the very first person I clicked on, his name is Douglas. He lives in Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is right
Mm.
outside Nashville.
Oh,
Oh my
funny.
gosh, that's funny.
My father-in-law, he lives in, where is it? Where is it? Crap. Words. Um, right outside of Nashville, in one of
Okay.
those like sub cities
Yeah,
surrounding
Mount
Nashville.
Juliet, Franklin, Ashland City, Brentwood,
Laverne, I
Laverne.
think.
Yeah, okay,
Laverne.
Laverne.
Yes,
Yep.
Laverne. He lives in Laverne.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
So I've been saying like sometime when we go there, I want to stop by your
Yeah.
studio.
I'd love for you to. Yeah, it'd be great to meet up. So yeah. But yeah, this is a great way to kind of look at their portfolio and then say something nice to them about, hey, I
Hmm.
saw saw a project you did, blah, 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 blah. Do you ever, if you ever need a voice actor to help you with your projects, I'd love to be considered. So, this might be something for your mother-in-law to help you with as well, go through and find people and be like, yeah, hey.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, I'd love to, it's just a nice way of building a client list, and not in the normal way that everyone's doing it through LinkedIn. Because I will tell you, people on LinkedIn are getting inundated with lots of requests from voice
Yeah.
actors. So it's maybe another way to reach out, you know. And who knows, there might be somebody that has their own company. Yes, they're listed on LinkedIn, or Upwork,
Mm-hmm.
but it might lead you to their website. And then you
Mm-hmm.
can go to them through their website versus through LinkedIn. And then it's another way of building stuff instead of bombarding people through LinkedIn all the time, which is what everyone is doing. It'd
Yeah.
be better to email them, directly. So that's
What
something to think about trying to do.
I've I've bandied about the idea, and I know I'm not unique in this, but like snail mail and stuff.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea either.
I still haven't figured out how, the how part. So,
Yeah. Y- You know, getting honestly, a postcard with something that is fun and catchy, maybe something, with a nice saying about e-learning, you know. I have postcards for political. Let me see if where are they?
oh, thank you.
Those are my,
I
that's
had
that's my
coaching
thank yous.
with I got audiobook coaching with Sean Pratt,
Oh, nice.
and some of his homework was to make like business cards and postcards, and
Oh, I like that. Okay.
I haven't actually sent any of these out, but
Yeah,
there
what is on
I
the
have
other side? Oh, perfect. Yeah, and then yeah, I like it.
so
Here's my political one. So it's got something cute and fun on the front side and my website, and then on the back, it just has some information about me, and then I just
yeah,
address it because that's all they need. So they've got my phone number, my email, a little bit about who and what I do, which is all the things that they would want to know. And you could do the same thing for e-learning. It could just be, something fun about e-learning on the front, and they're cheaper.
yeah,
It's easier to, put a stamp on it. You don't have to put things inside an envelope, and, you can print out labels to put on
yeah.
these, and then just sit and watch. This is what I used to do for Christmas cards. I would sit and watch TV, and I'd just peel and stick and peel and stick and peel and stick.
Sounds like a really good idea, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Maybe I should listen to my own advice here at some point and like try to get some more work. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's time for me to send these out again because things are starting to ramp up a little bit more. Sorry, I dropped the box. But yeah, it's not hard to, make a list and, even do a couple of week, say, I'm going to send out 5 postcards this week, you know.
Now, would you send those to the companies or to the
Mhm.
actual people?
To the people, and, maybe at the company, maybe find the name and then
Yeah.
find the company's address. Right now it's kind of hard with, I probably address it to the company first and then maybe care of, or, attention so and so.
Hmm.
But if they're, the person's not there, a lot of other people in the company might see the email, might see the mail just
Yeah.
because, it's mail. People don't
Yeah.
get that very often. So it's kind of nice. And a lot of people are working from home now, or at least working from home a couple of days a week. Maybe they're not full-time working from home. Maybe they go into the office every now and then and they get their mail. Or somebody could say to them, hey, you got some mail here.
You got mail.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's kind of fun. Honestly, I attended a marketing session through Alignable. Have you
Yeah,
done, are you on Alignable?
I am, but I've not done anything on there because I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure out. I am ADD. And
Yeah,
then
it's okay.
in high
A lot of us
school, I
are.
had a brain injury.
Right.
I had an accident, so I got a brain injury. And that, for the most part, I've healed from the brain injury. But what my brain injury did is it magnified my ADD, the
Ah,
effects, like
gotcha.
getting everything in here, like,
Yeah,
uh, and now I'm like not on medicine because I'm potentially looking to get my hubby and I are potentially looking to get pregnant in the
yay.
next few months or so. So,
Yeah, so yeah,
anyway, I'm like trying to figure out how to figure it out
right.
with help.
Well, that
So,
makes sense. Well, I would say On Alignable, I attended one of a free little session they had, it was like an hour-long little webinar kind of thing. And one of the things the lady shared with us is about sending out postcards of, thank you postcards. In fact, I'm going to copy this, and here's what she gave us. And there's a website for you, and you can
Nice.
send out, they're called alignable cards, I guess is the, you know, um,
Do they have branding on them?
you can, yeah, or you could just choose generic ones that are really pretty and, send a free card and just something that says nice, I was thinking about you, and, hey, have a great day, or, keep going, you're gonna make it, whatever. I haven't looked at it all myself. I've had the website up for like a month now.
I'll let for the studio.
Well,
Gotcha.
yeah, or just in, even my own business, just to, send out things to people to say thank you, or
Oh,
hey,
gotcha.
thinking about you, or, just any clients that you've got, just to say, you know, she said, she was telling us that she sends out things once a month. Just, just a nice little generic card that says, and they do everything for you. You put
Yeah.
in the address. And so if you were going to do it, they charge you, a couple of dollars, I guess, per thing, because they do the postage, they do the addressing, but you just put in the stuff and it just goes. You don't even have,
Mhm.
you never see the card. It's just signed by you, you know, um, and it's sent out by this other company, and it's got all your information on it and everything. I'm like, that's kind of cool, because people do like getting snail mail. She
Yeah.
made the point that she's been doing this for so long that a lot of her clients have her cards posted all over their walls and stuff because they
Oh,
collect them.
funny.
I'm like,
Huh.
it's kind of cool. So I don't know how much it
Un-
costs, and maybe for
Unusual,
really good
maybe, but
clients, but
cool. Yeah.
yeah, may not be
I wouldn't.
something to do all the time, but for a really good client, to say thank you, it might be
Interesting.
interesting. But yeah, I put the website in there for you to see. But yeah,
Thanks.
I think as far as when it comes to there's a lot of times you can also what we call reverse engineer a
Yes,
job posting. Um,
I've heard about that.
yeah. So when there are, what are they called?
On any platform like Craigslist, Upwork, LinkedIn.
I'm thinking of the job sites like monster.com
Uh-huh.
and Indeed. Indeed. Indeed, that is the best
Indeed.
one. Yeah, exactly. Indeed.com is the best one. You can reverse engineer a job posting. So if you went to Indeed.com, and they have, you can get email alerts from them for certain jobs. So
Hmm.
you can put in things like, hold on, let me, because they have changed things over time.
Yeah.
Um, you can get, like job title would be instructional design.
I'm thinking
Um,
that would probably be the easiest way to find people
yeah,
who work with voiceover talent.
yeah. So if we put in like instructional design and remote, actually, if you could put in instructional design and voiceover, and then see if anything comes up.
Hmm.
Because what will happen is a lot of times in the job details itself, it will tell you responsible for, hiring voiceover, whatever it is. You can, then search, for voiceover on the page and see where it comes up, you know. Um, so this just came up for me. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, so I'm on Indeed.com. I went to instructional design and voiceover.
Hmm.
I put remote. So instead of making it a particular city, that way it'll show up everywhere. So this one says they're looking for an e-learning instructional designer. And then I did the search for the word voiceover. So in the job posting and the job details, it's telling you they are responsible for designing and writing e-learning courses, including on-screen text, voiceover scripts, suggestions for course interactions and learner engagement. That means this company hires voiceover actors for their instructional design. So then you can look up Viva Systems and find it takes a little bit of work, but it's
Mm.
worth it. I've actually have a very good client that I did this that has sent me lots of work over the years because I did this. I happened to reach out to them at the right time.
Nice.
So we know that they are looking for their headquarters are in San Francisco and in more than 15 countries around the world. Okay, you can read a little bit about who the company is. Obviously, they are in the life sciences, pharma, med, biotech area.
Nice.
So if that's something that you happen to, have a sample for, you can send it to them. So
Sweet.
you'd look up like Viva Systems and, okay, there you go. And you can find out who they are, about the company, what they do. And then, kind of just look at everything about who they are and find out who it is that you want to contact.
Hmm.
So
So
a
how
lot of
would
times
you?
it's also good in the job description to find out who this person would report to. So in this case, it says,
Hmm.
will report to the director, e-learning program management. So then let's do this. Take that title, I'm going to copy it. Now I'm going to go to LinkedIn. I'm going to put that title, and then I'm going to put the name of the company. I think it's Viva Systems, Veeva, Veeva, and see what comes up. Well, there she is.
Nice.
So we can look her up and try to connect with her and see if she's somebody, that we could, connect with. So that's the way to reverse engineer this, because at that point, they're still looking to hire this particular person. But we know that the company uses voiceover. So as the director, Kristen would probably know, or be able to be somebody that we could reach out to. And then she can send us to the right people or say, you need to contact, one of my instructional designers, and here they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how would you, if you were
Mhm.
doing this, how would you reach out to them? LinkedIn, email?
Probably both. So I would go to her and then I would find out if she does not have her website here, or her email there. Okay. In that case, I would probably, she's only been doing this job for 9 months. Okay. All right. Director of e-learning at Viva Learn. Okay. So I would probably then go to the website for Viva and look at what their email configuration is, because at some point, and what their website is, Viva
Viva
Systems.
Las
So let's say if it's,
Vegas.
okay, so contact us. And then I'd go down here and be like, okay, do they have an email somewhere? Is there an
Ah,
email anywhere?
cool.
Contact training. Ah, here we go. Training at
Viva.com.
viva.com. So we know viva.com is the email. And you could probably guess and do K Griffin or Kristen.Griffin and see,
Oh,
if it comes
that's
back to you.
Hunter. That's where Hunter can come into
Yeah,
play.
hunter.io, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you could, I mean, again, takes a lot of work, but it is worth it. Again, if you do and say, I'm going to do 3 of these a week, great. So, but that's how you can go through and find, see, and there are a whole bunch of these. Here, that was just one. That was the first one that came up. So here's Care Medics, Training Manager, History of Creating Voiceovers and Flow Diagrams for E-Learning Productions. Here's, a bachelor's degree in instructional design, whatever, Archwell Health, AdMed. So they're looking for people. So what you can do is down here on Indeed, it says, I want to receive the latest job alert for instructional design voiceover in remote. You put in your email address, and every day it will send them to you. You will get job alerts.
Nice.
So it's like, let them do the work, let it do the work for you.
Yeah.
And then it just comes to your inbox and you're like, oh, fresh leads. Thank you. I mean, then you have to go back and go, okay, let me find out who this director is. And then I got to go here and I got to find out who she is and what would her email address be? And, yeah. But again, take 45 minutes to an hour a day, do a couple of those. It's 1 hour a day out of hopefully 8 hours if you're working full time kind of thing. And, build those leads, build that network. And then, the more you get, hopefully people will contact you back and go from there. So hopefully that
Okay.
was helpful. And since it's recorded, you'll be able to go back and look at all that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Awesome. All
Yeah.
right. I can't think of anything else right now. More like,
Good.
well, I do have a quick one. Hopefully it'll
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. What's up?
Do you have like an onboarding, like client onboarding process, for lack of a better way of saying it? Like when you get
Yes.
new clients?
I do. And actually, let me see if he has, it's under my needed file here. Business info and rate sheets. Okay. This is something that, what is his name? Tom Deere. Do you know who Tom Deere is?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. biostrategist.com. Okay. So that's his website. And I think he has some of this stuff for free on there. Oh, wrong thing. Trying to get back to it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find biostrategist.com somewhere on here, in his shop, free downloads. Okay. I'm pretty sure. I know it's in here because I thought he had this. I think you have to subscribe to his email thing to get
I am
the
actually.
templates. Yeah. Come on in. You're going where?
Go to Sonic real quick by
Okay.
myself.
All right.
I'll be back.
Okay. Sorry.
You're good.
The moody teenager. Are you sure you want kids? I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Well.
Totally teasing. So, but yeah, basically he's got some things in there that are like free downloads. But what he shared this with me once, but I don't know if I can I add?
I can always go on there and look.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. Come on, not that. Access to file restricted by your admin account. I am the admin. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just email this to you. I have
Thanks.
something that I kind of, borrowed from him, and he was totally fine with it, and he sends it out and lets people have it. But I have something called You've Hired Me, Now What?
Yeah.
And what that is, and why is it not in here? Here it is. Yeah. Actually, I can share my screen with you again.
Sweet.
So that way you can see it. Okay. So what this is this is a letter that once somebody reaches out to me and says, hey, I want to work with you or whatever, or can you tell me about the process of working with you? I send them this so I don't have to type it every time. And then
Yeah.
they also have it in their files. So since my branding is warm and bright like a ray of sunshine, I talk about silly things like making your project shine and making sure the sun doesn't set on your timeline. So I branded mine, But either way, it's the content in here that you want to share. And again, a lot of this is very similar to what, Tom did, but it's also very industry standard. But it helps and again, I'll email this to you so you've got it as a template. And how I do my payment and invoicing, what my change request policy is,
Mhm.
how I can connect with people, what my source connect information is, all that kind of good stuff, what my studio involves, all those things. So that way they have all these questions immediately whenever they reach out to me. I'll say, because they'll ask for rates a lot and what my process is. I send them this and a rate sheet, or better yet, I ask their budget first. And then if they come back, well, we really don't know, then I'll send them a rate sheet. But then I send them this, and that way it answers a lot of their questions and they can keep it for later. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, price, money.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
great.
yes. So there's this one lady that I found online. She doesn't do coaching or anything, which is totally
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah.
But her name is Debbie Grattan. Grattan.
Oh, Debbie Granton. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Know who she
So
is very well.
I've like, just binged on her blog and stuff. And
Yeah.
she was talking about in one that, at least for any new client and overseas clients,
Hmm.
it's a pay before,
Yeah.
like you did for me. You invoiced
Hmm.
me and I paid, and then
Right.
with the session. Um, now is like, what is, I don't want to say good or normal procedure, but
Yeah.
like, what is a normal procedure, for lack of a better way of saying it? Like, I've also heard, from Mark Scott, as soon as you do it, send the invoice.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
now,
I do a little bit of both. It depends. And that's a hard answer. A lot of people, depending on who the client is, if they're overseas, I do like to ask for half up front.
mm,
Other times, if it's a very big established company, then I probably won't, because, especially I might ask questions first of like, you know, what are your payment terms as far as how many days? Um, if they say 60 to 90, I might say, well, then I need half up front. If they're like, well, you tell us, what are your payment terms? I'll say, well, it's 15 days after the delivery of the product. And I will send you an invoice, and other times they'll say, would you like half up front? Yes, absolutely. That'd be great. Or, 25%, and then the other upon completion. It really depends on who the client is. If they are a established big time company and not a smaller mom and pop, you know, production company, I probably would feel better, you know, sending them an invoice. Um, Rates and things, I include a rate sheet for e-learning. I have to change my dates here. I pulled up the wrong one, but I think I already did this. I just pulled up the wrong one. So it's 2022, but I'll put 2023 in there. But I describe what my services include for these rates, kind of just a little bit about things, and then, you know, some information, and then all my contact information down at the bottom. So that way, it's branded. It has my, my logo and everything else at the top. So it looks professional. But that's kind of what I do. Um, Sometimes clients ask for per word, others ask for per finished minute. So I give them both. And then other times they just want like a corporate narration. Sometimes it's a video that's going to be embedded in an e-learning. That's not an e-learning. So I have that down here too. So that way, they have an idea of what my rates are. So hopefully that helps. Does that make sense?
oh, couldn't unmute for a while
That's
there.
okay.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it really does depend. It's hard to say that, but it's true, you know? It does depend on what you know, who the client is and what kind of vibe you get from them, you know? Just especially if it's a new client, it's nice to say, hey, since you're a new client and we haven't worked together before, I'd prefer half up front, you know, just until we establish a good working relationship. And then, you know, the final will be due upon delivery of the, completed files. Um, and then, go from there. Most clients would be okay with that. It's kind of like you have a plumber come out to take a look at something and they're going to say, well, no matter what, it's a $75 trip charge. And then, if we fix something, we'll, add that to whatever the cost of, we'll take that out of the cost of whatever the repair is, but they're still getting paid for their time, even
Mm.
if you choose not to fix it, with them. So you have to get some form of money to make sure you get paid at least part of it.
So
I
how do you
apologize.
broach that with new clients?
Just, when it comes to when they ask your payment, payment information and everything else, you can put it in this form, if you want to put it in here, for new client, you could put down when it comes down here to payment and invoicing, for new clients, I request, half up front. Uh, an invoice will be sent to you and, that's due before I start work. So the incentive there is if they're in a real hurry for it, they're going to pay you right away.
Mhm.
You know, final files will be sent upon, completion of recording and, receiving the invoice before work begins. You can put all that in there, that way you could just say, because they ask you, what are your rate, your policies and your rates and everything else, just say, I'm happy to share that with you. I'm attaching a couple of documents, which you can download and keep for future. That way they've always got it. They don't have to keep asking you over and over again.
Mm.
It saves you a lot of work, and that's just
Yeah.
a standard email I send out to people. It's like, absolutely. Here's, I always do ask them. I apologize. I had to get up really early with the baby this morning. I apologize. Sorry.
You're good.
But just attach your, you can attach your, basically your working, style, this piece of paper with, to their email, and then just ask them what their rate is before you send a rate sheet. Because then if they come back and say, oh, our rate is blah, 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 or we normally, work with talent and pay this, or I don't know, you tell us. If they keep
Mhm.
coming back to you, then you can send them a rate card, you know. But I typically will send this as soon as somebody requests information. So that way they kind of know what it's going to be like working with me and what they're going to get, so that way we don't have to go back and forth by email a lot. I don't have to keep typing things. It's just attach and send and done, makes your life a lot easier and faster for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Contracts? Do you use contracts?
sometimes I do, yes. A lot of times they will have them depending on how big the company is. And if you have to sign a, an NDA, a non-disclosure, um, if you're signing a non-disclosure, that's pretty much a contract that you're going to be doing work with them as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, you can do a contract. There's some generic ones out there. I think Tom may have one actually on his
Mm.
website. It's one of some of the free things he does. And then you can, goodness gracious, I am so sorry.
You're good.
Part of
I'm
this is
just
the weather. My
yeah.
ears are popping as well. So,
Oh,
but yeah,
fun.
I mean, it's just one of those things that, you can do a contract. A lot of times the companies will say to you, hey, do you have a contract we can use? And you say,
Mhm.
absolutely. I'll fill it out, send it to you. And they may have some changes. If they send you a contract and it says that, you can use this in all media now, known now and in the future, you strike through that and say, I as a standard practice in voiceover, we do not give our rights to everything now and in the future. It's for this one project and this one project only. Please remove this, and there you go. Because
Right.
they'll
No,
just send you a boilerplate thing that their legal department is cooked up, and
no in perpetuity.
yeah, exactly.
Although someone else told me like e-learning pretty much is in perpetuity. You just have
Yeah,
to make sure it's for that specific.
right. If you do a contract, it's for that specific project only, and it
Mhm.
will. Everything's going to be outdated. Everything, everything we do in e-learning is completely outdated. And within a year or two, sometimes 3 or 4, so I'm not really worried about it because
Mm,
they come back to you with changes all the time because things change, technology changes, you'll
yeah,
train somebody on a computer system that's going to be defunct in 10 years. So that's not in perpetuity.
yeah,
That training I did is no longer valid because that computer system can't even boot up,
yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I
Awesome.
hope that was helpful. I will send you these 2 pieces of information by email, just so you have them.
Sweet.
Um,
Thanks.
yeah, and then you can just, kind of copy and paste. So again, I kind of copied and pasted mine from what Tom did. And he
Yeah,
shared it and was, willing to share it with everybody. Of course, you'll have to customize it to your specific stuff. But
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
It's good to have your information in there and how to reach out to people and what to say. But yeah, e-learning is wonderful. It's a lot of fun. If you can get on the roster of a couple of different companies that create e-learning, that's the best thing to do because then
Now,
they're the ones going and getting the work.
I
They
heard
just
like
come to you and say, "Hey, our client chose you." Great.
I heard that's a whole different other animal, like
Hmm.
rates and work and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And sometimes, their rates may be a little lower in some places, or in some cases, but the good thing is it's steady work and you
Mm,
don't have to go out and get it and spend all your time and do the marketing, other than keeping up with that client and making sure you're, hey, how you doing kind of thing, once a quarter if they're not giving you stuff. But if you get on certain rosters, you can constantly keep getting work just
mhm.
over and over and over and over again, and you don't have to do anything but say thank you and cash the check, you know. So that's really nice. And sometimes they'll send you auditions, because they'll have several people that they want to, have you choose from and everything else. And you can send those auditions and, hopefully get the job. But they're doing all the work to reach out to the big companies that
Yeah.
need the e-learning. So you don't have to go to the Coca-Colas. You don't have to go to the, Fortune 50. You're just going to, you're going to the smaller entities and everything else, which is just fine because there are a gazillion companies out there that they all need training, you know?
Have you been on rosters or
Oh
are?
yeah, I am on rosters. Yeah, most of my e-learning work now comes from rosters,
Mhm.
because I've been so busy doing so much stuff that I don't
Yeah.
have the time to market myself anymore. But randomly, something will come up. I'll be on LinkedIn, something will happen, and I'm like, oh yeah. So I'll go down that little rabbit hole of, how to do things and how to connect with
Yeah.
people and, send people stuff. And then, lo and behold, 6, 8 months, a year later, hey, thanks for, and I'll look back, they'll say to me, hey, we have a project now. And I'm like, who are you? And I'll look back at the emails. I'm like, God, that was like 2 years ago. Okay, fine,
Yeah.
great. What can I do for you? So you just have to kind of keep up with it. It's hard. It is not an easy thing,
Mm.
but I think we found some really good, interesting stuff today
Mhm.
to do. I
Yes.
think if we go to both Indeed and to Upwork and look for who these people are, find out who they are on LinkedIn and then either connect through LinkedIn and through emails, it'd be great.
Some
So
gold nuggets.
yeah, absolutely. I hope so. Cause yeah, now I just have to do what I preach. I need to hire an assistant. I need to hire an assistant to do all this stuff for me. Yeah.
Oh, what was that? That VO for VA?
VA for
Yeah.
VO. Actually, I
Yeah.
have Veronica's helping me right now with social media stuff, and I hired her
Oh,
through VA for VO. So yeah,
awesome. Okay.
yeah, it's great.
Well,
Yeah.
I won't hold you up any longer. Maybe
Oh
you
no,
can
it's
take a
great.
nap or something and
I wish I could. I have so much to do, and I have another client at 4:15, so I gotta go eat some lunch. I'm
yes.
gonna
Well,
do that first.
I'll let you I'll I'll let you do that and I
Yeah,
will get off here and I'm gonna go have lunch with my hubby. So,
good. And I will once I get the email from uh Zoom about the recording is available,
mm,
I'll send that to you so you can download it and you'll be good to
awesome.
go.
And I will keep a lookout. Thanks so
All
much
right.
again.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.